For today's barbecue experiment, I'm going to try and follow the steps that I saw in a video over on the Smoke Slinger channel done by their own Frank Cox. He did St. Louis spare ribs within 90 minutes on the full-size Smoke Slinger. But today, I want to see if I can do something pretty close to the 90-minute rib that I saw over on their channel. One of the exciting things about my Smoke Slinger is that it's a direct heat cooker amongst many other things, but that's one of the main features that I really want to get a better handle on for my own cooks. So essentially, we're going to take advantage of the radiant heat coming off of the tuning plates that I'm going to have positioned directly above the charcoal baskets on both sides of the Smoke Slinger. Before I get the Smoke Slinger fired up, I'm gonna go ahead and prepare these ribs. I bought a 3-pack of St. Louis spare ribs over at Costco, and I'm gonna season them in 3 different ways. For the first slab, I'm gonna replicate what Frank did. He did just salt and pepper, and I have never done ribs with simply salt and pepper. I really liked the way they looked and turned out in Frank's video, so I'm excited to give this a try and see how it tastes. Simplicity at its best. So not a whole lot to do. They've already been shaped. There is a little bit of like a fragment bone right here. I think I'm gonna cut next to this bone here. I'm just gonna get rid of that fragment. And then I'm not gonna bother with trying to pull the silver skin off of the back. Instead, I'm just gonna score these ribs with my knife. Leaving this membrane on will actually protect the backside of the ribs during this cook, because again we're gonna go direct heat, and I'm gonna try to have my Smoke Slinger around 325 degrees, give or take. That's the back side. Let me take a quick look at the front. This is backyard barbecue, so I'm not worried about trying to make these look perfect. This already looks pretty good to me, like I said, so again, just, taking this little fragment off, that's all I needed to do. I don't even know, since I'm doing this one with salt and pepper, I probably didn't even need to do a spritz with water, but I'm gonna use water for all 3 slabs just to keep something a little constant. So I'm just gonna start off with some kosher salt. Give that a little pat. You don't have to pat too hard. While I get the Smoke Slinger up to temperature, the salt is gonna pull out moisture from the meat. So I'm just gonna follow that up with some 16 mesh black pepper and repeat the process. My wife is always sensitive to spice, so it's going to be interesting how she takes to the salt and pepper pork ribs. I do my beef ribs the same way with just salt and pepper, and she never complains, but that's a much thicker cut of meat. And then for the second slab, I'm using my own rib rub. This is what I use for my commercial cooking. And it's basically SPG. It's got some chili powder. Also has some brown sugar. Gives a real nice flavor. But I want to see how it compares to the salt and pepper. And for this one, this is a rub by Suckle called Hog Waller. I used this quite a ways back, but I have to be honest, it's been so long, I don't really remember what it tastes like. I remember that I really enjoyed it, I liked it, And this is kind of what happens when you use a lot of different commercial rubs. I just cannot, for the life of me, remember what this rub tasted like. So for my third rack, I'm gonna give myself a refresher, and we're gonna use this one. Now I notice that the rub is very fine. So unlike the other two, the salt and pepper and my own rib rub, where I use a lot of coarse ingredients, the ingredients for the Suckle Buster's Hog Waller is pretty fine. All right, so I'm gonna let these ribs, all 3 slabs, hang out. And I'm gonna go outside and start getting the Smoke Slinger ready. All right, similar to what Frank used in his video, I'm using B&B competition briquettes. So I'm not gonna fill them all the way to the top. I do have the inserts for the charcoal baskets. So just gonna get enough to make sure that I'm adequately covering the inserts. So I'm gonna do both sides. So next I'm gonna get 2 small chimneys of briquettes lit up, and I'm gonna pour them over the top of the unlit coals in the firebox charcoal baskets. All right, so we're gonna let this go, wait for them to ash over the top, start to get gray. It'll probably take about 20 to 25 minutes, and then I will pour them over the top of the unlit coals. All right, just pouring these lit coals over the top. Got some leftover cherry chunks I'm trying to get rid of, so we got that in there as well. So I'm just gonna leave everything wide open for a bit to help get those unlit coals going. Bring this Smoke Slinger up to around 325 degrees, and then we'll get the ribs on. We're about to get these ribs on the Smoke Slinger. On the right side, we're at 342. The left side, 308. So hopefully by the time I get the ribs out, we'll be a little bit closer to 325. All right, I just wanted to point out that I've got all the vents completely wide open down here. That's how Frank has it in his video. So both of the intakes completely wide open at the bottom. And then here's a look at the exhaust. So also on the exhaust, I've got the exhaust wide open on both sides, front and back. We're gonna get this going. Both sides are now above 325 degrees, the right side being a little bit hotter than the left. So on the far right, we've got the salt and pepper ribs. And here in the middle, this is the ribs with my rib rub. And on the left is the hog waller. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna let these go. We're gonna let them go for 60 minutes, and then I will come and check on them, see how they're doing. The intent here is I'm gonna let them go basically 75 minutes like they are, bone side down, meat side up, and then for the last 15 minutes, if everything looks good and looks on track, then I will flip them over for the last 15 minutes and have the meat side down, bone side up. So after 1 hour, I haven't done much adjusting to the Smoke Slinger dampers. It has been running hotter than 325, which I'm okay with. Just starting to see just a little bit of pullback from the bones, not a whole lot. But you can definitely see that the ribs are tightening up. So I think we're in pretty good shape here. So we're gonna let these go for another 15 minutes. I'll take a look at them and then decide if I'm ready to flip them over so that it will be meat side down. I know Frank did his in 90, but if I need a little bit more time, I'm perfectly okay with that. Really, I'm just trying to see if I can get some good ribs in less than the usual 4-5 hours that it usually takes me when I'm smoking them. All right, let's do the 75-minute check. I think I see a little more progress. Definite evidence of bone pullback, especially up at the top. But I don't think I'm quite at that point where I want to flip these ribs over. I think they need a little bit more time. So my ribs are now on track for 105 minutes instead of 90. Anyway, I'm going to give them another 15, take another look at them. I'm just going to keep checking them every 15 minutes and then determine when I want to flip them over. All right, here we are. We're 90 minutes in. And you know, at this point, I am going to go ahead and turn these ribs over. So this is the salt and pepper ribs. And oh yeah, actually this is what I should have did 15 minutes ago, but look at that. Look at that. That flap is really what you want to see. So now I'm feeling really confident that these ribs are on pace. So I'm going to go ahead and turn these over. These are the ribs. Also got nice bend. This is my own rib rub. Get that turned over. And then this is the Suckle Buster's Hog Waller. Not sure if you can, but you can see the bones starting to come. So these ribs are definitely on track. I think I was just being a little bit too cautious. So we're gonna let these go for 15 more minutes. And then I'm confident that there will be time to take them off and finish them off. The ribs have rested, so let's recap what we did. So for the first 90 minutes of the cook, I did the ribs face up, or meat side up, bone side down. Then for the last 15 minutes, I flipped them over, meat side down, bone side up, got them off of the Smoke Slinger. I have them in foil, but I didn't wrap them completely. So this is a loose wrap. Wanted them to continue to basically vent, to rest, and not cook. So these are just loose wraps that we have here. This is my traditional rib rub. Let me get that up into the view of the camera. And I know these are done. Look at that bend. Pull back from the bones. Great color. But in addition to that, I also wanted to kind of try and replicate what I saw Frank do in his video, where he did just salt and pepper ribs. And these are the salt and pepper ribs. Fantastic bend to these. Look at that color. I love something that is simplified. The third rack is one that I've tried before, but it's been so long I really just couldn't remember how they taste. These are the Hog Waller rub. So again, we've got great bend. Nice color. So it's a little bit darker than my rib rub. I can't tell you how happy and excited I am that these ribs are really, I mean, I have no doubt that these ribs are done, as well as tender. And I love the fact that I didn't have to wrap them while they were on the smoke slinger in order to achieve this type of tenderness, because generally when you wrap in foil, it's almost like you're steaming the ribs, and it really takes away from the bark. A lot of people love that 3-2-1 method. Purists will tell you that those ribs are overcooked. Okay, so first up, we've got my rib rub. Beautiful color. So these are St. Louis spares.
Mm-hmm. They're good.
What do you think of the tenderness?
I love it. No complaints. To me, this should kind of always be like this. So easy to chew and.
Yeah, it's coming off the bone nice and easy.
It's delicious.
Very tender.
Mm-hmm.
So rib number 2. And these are the salt and pepper ribs. So just salt and pepper. They also have a really nice color, I think.
The color is nice. It's the same cook method though?
Yeah, all of these were done together on the smoke slinger, direct heat.
Oh.
Again, these are very tender.
Yeah. I like the tenderness.
I like the taste too.
Yeah, actually, it's not bad.
What do you like better?
So far, I think I like the salt and pepper. The salt and pepper one, I like the skin. It's kind of had a little crunch to it.
Funny you mentioned that. So I think that's what people say about the direct heat method versus the low and slow smoke ribs, is that one of the big differences is that you do get a little bit of that crunch that you're describing.
I like it.
And last but not least will be the Suckle Busters Hog Waller, which we've done before and we really liked it. But like I said, I honestly just cannot recall what they taste like. So here's the Hog Waller.
It's pretty.
Cheers. Are you on camera?
I don't know.
Or at least. I think it has good flavor.
Yeah.
I think coming after the salt and pepper, though, it definitely
letdown.
seems a little more subtle. I wasn't going to call it a letdown, but yeah, there's other things going on.
I like the forwardness of the salt and pepper, but I do like the sweetness of this one. But coming after the salt and pepper, it was a little letdown. But now that I'm kind of remembering,
So again, you know,
I really like the salt and pepper.
I'm really happy with, I guess I'm blown away actually with how tender these ribs
They're delicious.
turned out without having to wrap and being able to cook them so much faster than low and slow.
Right. To me, this would be the way. And honestly, if you ask me what do I want more of, it's the salt and pepper one.
The experiment, the barbecue experiment, was a big hit. I'm super pleased and surprised at just how good these ribs turned out in preparing them in 90 to 105 minutes. For me doing my commercial barbecue, this is definitely going to be the way to go moving forward. Almost a little shocked at just how much I think both of us really enjoyed the simple salt and pepper rub with nothing else. Again, I just used kosher salt, 16 mesh black pepper. That's it. Nothing else. I didn't spritz, didn't do any of that during the cook. No wrap, no adding butter or honey or more brown sugar or any of that. Just straight up, simple, direct, and those ribs were outstanding. So hopefully you got some value out of this video. If you did, please hit that like button, and even more important, subscribe. That way you don't miss out when I drop new videos with new barbecue experiments. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Kenyatta Robinson, and I will see you in the next one.